Welcome to Single Leg Parlay. We got our college week 6 preview. We are going to preview what we consider to be the biggest games of the week. We're going to talk about matchups. We got some stinky lines out there that you may want to avoid or bet if you feel real good about it. Then we're going to give you some money line plays and our best bets. A lot of money to be made tonight, so let's make it. I got Al, I got Danny, I'm Dikembe. Let's drink some beers.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Too soon. I didn't realize he had brain cancer, man. That made me real sad.
You think he's the kind of guy that would have told everybody?
No, I don't. I think he's a fucking sweetheart. And he's like the most charitable human being. He's awesome.
Dude has hospitals named after his mother and shit. He's awesome. A great guy.
All right, let's talk about what we see as the top matchups this week. There's a lot of good games, not a ranked versus a ranked, but really, really fun matchups. Love Al's suggestion. I want to start there. Al, what do you think of is the top matchup this week?
Oh, the premier Big Ten matchup of the week. Kirk Ferentz and Iowa heading to Columbus to take on Ohio State. It's going to be fun. Well, for real sickos.
No, I don't think you have to be a sicko here. I don't think you have to be a sicko at all. Iowa is scoring points, boys.
Yeah.
They're scoring points. They scored 40 against Illinois State, which, okay. They scored 19 against Iowa State, which is points. They scored 38 against Troy and then 31 against Minnesota. Michigan didn't score 31 against Minnesota. They didn't.
Yeah.
And they played at Minnesota, and they kicked their ass. This is an Iowa team that it looks completely different on offense, and I'm really, really excited. Now, I'm also really scared that Ohio State hasn't shown you shit yet, and today is the day they decide to fucking unleash the wolves on you a little bit.
But it's Ryan Day, so that also makes me think it's probably not the day. You know?
I see what you did there.
I see.
I didn't even mean to. But yeah,
I'm really excited about the matchup, though. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I'm excited to see what Ohio State can actually do with Will Howard. Their defense is really, really nasty. Iowa's defense is really, really nasty. This game could stink like an under. I know I'm going to give you the peak. I'm going to bet Iowa, the plus 20.5 or plus 21 that it's at right now. I do think this game will stay closer than the experts think. Danny, you have any thoughts here?
On Iowa, Ohio State? Yeah. I mean, I think that it'll probably go under. I think that Iowa's offense they're focusing too much on it and they're not good at it. So they should go back to their bread and butter and make sure their defense can shut down Ohio State to keep this game low. Yeah, that's where I'm at on that.
It feels like a hard way to cover.
Yeah, I think they'll score enough. I think there's 14 points in Columbus. I'd say 28-14, something like that sounds about right.
They're gonna need a return touchdown, I think, to get there. But you know, Iowa plays special teams better than anybody in college football, pretty much.
They pride themselves on playing special teams. They don't pride themselves on playing offense, but boy, they're gonna punt the ball good. They punt real good. Punts over points, right?
It's almost like they play Beamer ball, where it's like a little bit of old Virginia Tech Beamer ball, where it's like we're going to beat you on special teams, we'll be fine on offense and defense, but we're going to beat you on special teams so bad.
We'll find just enough to make this game awful to watch, but not like you want to throw your TV out the window awful. You're just like, I hate watching this, but I don't want to hurt myself.
I never hate well-defended football games. Like that's like a thing with, as long as it's not like, for example, the freaking Dolphins last night in Tennessee. That was a sloppy, bad football game. It was not fun to watch. But when Iowa is like on their point on defense and they're like getting to the quarterback and making tackles and stopping the run, it's fun to watch. It's like
you like good defense, but you don't like bad offense.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. Yeah. Iowa's got some players, too, on offense. It's not Cade McNamara. He's not good. But Caleb Johnson, the running back at Iowa, super good. They also have a receiver. I cannot remember his name, but they have a receiver. The
They
problem
sure
is Kid
do. They probably have like
McNamara.
2 or 3.
They got a couple receivers. They
I'm
have a
sure
tight
they're
end.
I'm sure they're Bill Belichick style receivers, if
Yeah,
you know what I
I'm
mean.
sure someone's going to come. A lot.
I think they are Bill Belichick style receivers. I'm looking for this guy's name. Vanderzee. Reese Vanderzee. So yes, I'm
Ooh.
assuming
Yeah,
he
yep.
looks.
I don't need a picture of him to know that he's a Bill Belichick receiver.
Yeah,
Lunch
Reese
bill guy.
Vanderzee.
He's a real lunch pail guy.
Yeah, he's a gym rat. They call him a gym rat. He really tries his squats and his
I
curls.
put
Great,
nothing.
great route
100
runner.
nothing.
Great route runner, that guy.
Lunch pail. Love lunch pail. Danny, what game is most interesting to you this week?
Well, I got a couple here. I'm gonna shout out Andy's best game of the week for Missouri A&M. I think that Missouri is a little overrated still, and I think that A&M has a shot at this one. I don't like A&M. To be clear, I don't like A&M. I think that they are going to be a very mid SEC team this year, but Missouri is way overrated, so I like the A&M line here, and that's gonna be a fun one to watch. But my favorite game of the week is Ole Miss South Carolina.
Ooh.
It's not even close. It's not even close. At Ole Miss coming off that loss against Kentucky, and South Carolina, who I have in my mid draft, it was one of my number one picks. It was a high pick for me, I think, in the mid draft.
Update that.
Yeah, we should update that. So I expected them to be a solid 6-6 team this season, but they have shown that they can be a little bit better than that. Their only loss, they kept it close with LSU. It was like a 35 to 30 something game, and it was it was a good game. They've dominated everybody else, and they actually have a transitive property win over Ole Miss because they beat the shit out of Kentucky. It was 31-6. So I really really love that game this week, and I got South Carolina on the points on the money, or taking the points, and then I also like them on the money line. So
yeah, I think that could be a fun game. My guess would be Ole Miss gets right, but South Carolina's been a tough place to play. They really turned the screw on LSU in that game. It's almost a travesty that they lost that game because their explosives were awesome. I do want to talk more about Missouri, Texas A&M for a second. Sorry, if you want to go.
Go ahead. No, let's go back.
I don't know who's playing quarterback for Texas A&M here. If it is Connor Wegman, fine. If it's Marcel Reed, fine. Both of them are the mid-ass quarterbacks of the week. That's going to be this segment is sponsored by Mayonnaise because it's the mid-ass quarterback of the week, and they're both options. They both win the Mayonnaise of the week. So I don't know what they're going to do. Their defense is good. I'll be curious to see how Missouri plays because Missouri – the last 2 games they played, they had to go to overtime against Vanderbilt, and they beat Boston College by 6.
And they only won that one by a field goal. The Vanderbilt game, like Vanderbilt had a.
Well, we talked about Coach Uncle Jerry Kill first week, and Diego Pavia's got that dog in him, right? He always has that dog in him from last year for Vanderbilt. I think they're going to be a tougher out than we considered. That is an under-talented team with some dogs. But this has got to be Luther Burden's show. They need to find Luther Burden often. Texas A&M has a great defensive line, so this is going to be a super fun matchup. And it also qualifies for Stinky Line of the Week because there is no circumstance where I think Texas A&M should be a 2-point favorite. So do with that information what you will. Because usually
it all comes down to their last 2 games, because that Boston College game, like, I mean, you only beat an ACC team like at the very end, like, and then you come in and you shit the bed against Vanderbilt and tie. Basically, if this was a real sport, it would have been called a tie, but they got overtime, so they got a chance to win. They kind of have to. They don't. I'm sorry, Missouri does not have to have this game because they have a soft ass schedule for the next 2 weeks. They got the worst team ever to be assembled for college football over a 10-year span in Massachusetts next, and then Auburn after that. And I believe they have a bye in there before they have to go in and actually go with some hard teams with like Alabama, South Carolina, Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
I just think Missouri's like, I mean, obviously this is the game on their schedule. They feel like they need to win it. If they do win this, they could be going into that Alabama game 8-0, 7-0, something like that. So, they're ranked high. People like them. I don't really. They have the best receiver in football, but if you don't count Restrepo.
For gambling purposes, there is a hard and fast rule that if a ranked team is going to an unranked team and the unranked team is the favorite, you should probably bet that if it's less than 3.
Yes.
And
That's
this
true.
this is the circumstance where Texas A&M is a 2-point favorite, and they have not looked impressive in any capacity. Now, I think Missouri is a far better team. Their offense is really, really solid. They got the components there. Their defense is a little suspect, but that may be a really big, loud, culty environment that they're walking into. So it's something to consider there.
I still think Texas A&M is a fake 4-1. I mean, they lost to Notre Dame. Is Notre Dame that good? And then they got to play McNeese in Florida and Bowling Green, and then a mid Arkansas team. So I think that's a fake 4-1. So I don't know. I think A&M has a shot here. I think that these teams, basically, what I think is these teams are pretty equal. And Missouri is like ranked in the top 10, and A&M is like not even ranked. So
yeah. Let's go
25.
to my.
They're 25. Sorry, they're 25. I didn't realize.
My favorite game of the week is geographically specific, and it takes in the center of the great state of Florida. We have UCF going into Florida. UCF coming off an embarrassing loss. Nothing, honestly, like the spread makes it more embarrassing than the actual performance. Colorado may not be that bad. They may not be that bad.
If you can't run the ball on Colorado and you're a running team,
not great.
Colorado's defensive line is better, right? And they're to be fair, their defensive ends played great in that game. They were all over the quarterback anytime they tried to pass. But you should still be able to run on that team if you're like Gus Malzahn's got to be find a way to get his running back space, and they just couldn't. It was disappointing.
It is. It was. I couldn't believe the performance. I didn't love the laying the 14 there, but I thought that UCF would find a way to win that game.
I got it live around 9.5 at one point, and I was very happy that I got that 9.5, and I did not feel good about that the rest of the game, obviously.
So you got a UCF team that's been reeling. You got a Florida team. I don't know what to make of it. I think Florida's defense is better than Colorado's, right? That is the assumption I'm under. They may not be much better, but I think they're better. I do know that Colorado's offense is better than Florida's. So, with that being said, I have no idea what to make of this game. The line is UCF favored by 1. Is that correct? But I feel confident.
I got Florida +3, I think.
Florida +3. I feel confident in knowing this. If Florida loses this game, this will be the game that gets Billy Napier fired. It may not happen this week. I think it will be after the next game going into the bye. But there will be board of trustees and who are the people that donate money? What's the term?
Boosters. But yes, they got UCF this week. Then they'll obviously get dominated by Tennessee the week after. Then if they lose to Kentucky going into the bye, he could lose his job.
But I think that decision will have been made this week, and they're just going to say, "Hey, let's let him play out the string before the bye." It doesn't matter what coach you have. You could have Don Shula. You could have Bill Belichick. You're going to lose the majority of the rest of your schedule. That Florida State game's looking easier at the end of the year, but the rest of them, you're losing. So,
I mean, that's a tough schedule that they have. Everybody's ranked except Kentucky, who is a pretty solid team. They just beat Ole Miss, and UCF, who they play this week. Like, if they don't win this game, they might not win again. That's a tough schedule.
you got to cut ties. I think it's gonna that decision will be made this week. So
I
I
hope
think
they
it's a
keep him
really
forever. I hope they keep him forever. I hope Billy
I do
Napier is
too.
just their coach the rest of the time.
We need Billy Napier to stay at Florida for the lifetime of the University of Florida because he's the worst coach. He's awful. Other interesting games this week: Pitt UNC. Don't know what to make of it. Narduzzi's scoring points. Guys, it's like saying Iowa scores 50 points a game. Narduzzi has an offense, Al. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And then UNC looks terrible. One thing I know about UNC is that they're going to score points, but they're going to give up even more points on defense. And now they can't even score the points. So I don't know what to make of this game. It feels like Pitt should win, but the line is much trickier.
You're saying they can't score points, but they lost a game where they scored 50. They just gave up 70 to James Madison.
So that game is tricky because I think they were down by 50 at halftime. And at that point, you're going to just take your foot off the gas and you're going to run out the string if you're James Madison.
North Carolina had a run of a solid 8-9 years where they had first-round quarterbacks playing for them, right?
Yeah.
That's gone. That's gone.
Done.
Their quarterback is not a first-round pick. I'd have to Criswell. He's not a first. He's fine, but he's not a first-round pick.
He will be going pro in something other than football, as the college football commercials, college sports commercials tell you. He ain't going to go
He's
pro.
not Drake May. He's not what was
Trubisky.
the guy that got drafted by the Bears? Trubisky. He's just not one of those guys. He's good, but he's not them. And Narduzzi, he's been scoring points, but they're still running the ball into the ground. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for that defense that gave up 70 to James Madison.
Yeah, they stink. They're real bad. And then we talked about Cade Bell on this program a few weeks ago, the offensive coordinator that Narduzzi brought in. Now they're scoring points, and he looks like a freaking genius. So I'm excited to watch this. I do think we need to talk about the people that protect us every day, Navy, Air Force.
Oh, yeah.
I think this could be a really fun game. We talked about in the previous podcast that Navy is leading the AAC right now with Army, tied. Most conference wins between the two of them, which is awesome. Awesome. But this Navy team is not to be slept on. And this Air Force team looks like doo-doo. They look real bad. Al, I think you were talking about they have not hit a team total yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's the Air Force team total under is 4-0 on the season.
So this could be a tricky spot for Air Force.
They're not high numbers either.
No, they're real low. And Air Force last couple of years was an offensive wagon, right? So recruiting for military schools is tough. I get it, right? You have obligations after you're done and you graduate. So either way, I think this game will be super, super fun. Love it when the armed forces get together. I think this is a great spot, and this is a dumb thing to do to bet the over. It's 35.5. I think Navy can hit 35.5 on their own. That team is fucking good on offense, and Air Force is bad.
I don't think
it's obviously everyone knows the whole thing with military academy games is you take the under. It doesn't matter how low the total is. I think this might be an exception. And if you listen to Cover 3, you'll probably I would venture to guess that Tom Fornelli, who sort of popularized this idea, this might be the year to flip it. But obviously, if you've got a bunch of bankroll sacked away from all of I think it's hit 13 times in a row or something. Maybe even more than that. Obviously it's worth a bet on the under, but I do like the over in this one. It'll probably seem stupid by halftime.
I don't mean to always be bringing it back to the last game, but the Pitt team that is scoring points, right? Did you know that their quarterback is a member of the tribe, and he has also thrown for 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions? I was
Eli Holstein?
Eli Holstein or Holstein. Yeah. He's a freshman, and the dude is just lighting it up. This dude's getting some NIL money for sure. He needs to be playing for probably Miami next year would be great, to be honest with you.
Transfer portal Eli Holstein will be coming. I doubt he will play for Narduzzi. Narduzzi hates the transfer portal so much.
He's got a Big 12 arm on him.
Yeah.
Oh, Texas Tech, something
Maybe.
like that. Does that sound? No, it's
Oklahoma
it's
State.
No, he's got a place that's going to pay him, man. This dude's awesome as a freshman.
Well, you don't think these programs have money?
No, I think he's going to. I think he's going to go to like a Miami or a USC or something like that. To be honest with you.
Both members are very tribe friendly. Both locations are very tribe friendly.
Hey, does NYU have a football team? I don't know if you guys get what I'm doing here, but
I'm with that. Gotcha. It took me like an embarrassingly long time to pick up what you were putting down. Oh God.
Eli Holstein will be making he'll be representing a popular Jewish community very soon. Dude kicks ass. Pitt is fun.
That dude is moving to Aventura, and he's going to play for University of Miami. That's happening.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to FAU.
Oh, FAU is perfect for him.
FAU doesn't have the money, but they that would be great.
All I got to do is call the right boosters.
I'm an FAU booster. I am not paying for Eli Holstein.
You may be. You may not even know it yet.
Yeah, your NIL money is.
You may already be.
Going back, Navy has covered this number in every game so far by themselves. This total, they've scored over 35 points a game. So it feels like a good opportunity to look at that over and realize that this line is set because it's become such a popular thing to bet the under in military or armed forces games, or we may look like idiots. So important to consider.
Definitely one or the other.
Auto bet. I'm an auto bet on the armed forces unders, but I didn't bet this one. I didn't give it out. I will most likely bet the over when it right before the game starts because I'm scared to do it now.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's a dangerous game. I'm going to play dangerously though. Last game that could be interesting, but I think it's wholly not, is Clemson at Florida State. Clemson's playing really well right now. I know people saw the Georgia game and they're like, oh, Clemson sucks. Look at Clemson the last couple of weeks. They are kicking the shit out of everyone. Their defense has always been good. That offense looks like it's actually on par. Lincoln Riley's brother finally looks like he knows what he's doing with Cade Klubnik. I can't remember. I think it's Garrett Riley. And that offense.
Is his brother the OC at Clemson?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
He was the offensive coordinator at TCU when they won the Natty, or they competed for the Natty too. So he's played a big game.
They put up 66 on App State, 59 on NC State, and then 40 on Stanford. And obviously they got their asses kicked by Georgia in week 1 when I was probably saying things like Cade Klubnik's just not it.
I was saying that too.
Dabo's only good when he has a first round or number 1 overall pick quarterback sitting there. And no, they might be able to win a bunch of games in a row here because they got Florida State, Wake Forest, Virginia. The Louisville's their next actual challenge. So, you start to see Georgia, you might lose a game.
Yeah, look, and that Georgia team is really good. I think it's important to consider your competition in this one. That Florida State team sucks. They are not playing well. There is nothing that they're doing well. The defensive line is trying really hard. That's what I can give them. They're trying really hard. They are giving everything they got because they know that there are a bunch of NFL guys who will get drafted. Everything behind them has not played very well. That offense sucks. They have lost lineman after lineman to injury so far, and they can't run the ball. And DJU will not be playing in this game, and everyone's going to be like, well, that should make them better. Let's hold the phone. Throwing a redshirt freshman, we watched Brock Glenn in that Louisville game, and it was not good. This is Clemson's defense. This is a totally different scale. He's a little bit older, Brock Glenn, but I don't expect results to be particularly good. The idea of going to the freshman quarterback is a matter of learning and improving over time. and seeing what you got and if you have to hit the transfer portal next year. So I think this is going to be a learning process. I think the name value is fun. I don't think this game will be particularly interesting. You guys have any thoughts?
No, I agree.
I
will not
kind
be
of
watching it.
I mean, I'm not saying I never get any joy out of Florida State losing. I root for them most of the time, but I did. I mean, Alabama and Georgia was on last week, and for some reason I just kept watching SMU Florida State. It wasn't because I was betting on Florida State over and over again, which was a poor choice by me.
Yeah,
but
that is bad.
Yeah, I did keep watching that game. So I kind of like hate watching it, but also betting on Florida State because I want my friends to be happy, but then also being happy that Florida State loses is weird. It's a weird situation for me.
Yeah,
It is. It's a tough conundrum to be in.
Yeah, I think it's okay to be happy Florida State loses once, twice, maybe 3 times, but now it's just like overkill and it feels bad. It's like watching, I don't know what it's like watching a dog.
The thing is, I like Norvell. Like, I just as a coach in general, like I think he's probably pretty good, but like, what's going on there, man?
Dude, it's so bad. They look undisciplined as shit, and they look. So Norvell's not a good recruiter, but he's always been promoted as a guy that develops talent and coaches the right way. That shit is not developed talent, and they may have like 8 guys get drafted. There is a fucking big ass problem there. Like, we can say the transfer portal doesn't always work. Yeah, okay, but you have talent. Why aren't they playing?
I will say that that sounds a whole lot like those Randy Shannon led Miami teams.
Yeah, exactly.
And he is on your staff.
That's interesting.
We got some Matt Campbell vibes coming off.
That game the other day was worse than that. That was the equivalent of Willie Taggart era Florida State. It was super.
That was a bad era. That was a bad era.
No one lined up backwards. So that is yet to come, but we'll see if they line up the wrong way this time.
Well, I might as well try it.
Let's go. That play earned positive yards, actually, which is the funniest part of that play.
The funniest part is that the whole next week you were probably telling anyone making fun of that play that it actually went for positive yards. And
I think we got a first down out of it. We got a first down out of him lining up backwards. But that team sucks. Don't watch it.
At least you didn't get an illegal motion penalty.
Did you guys see Florida State? They lined up backwards. Oh, actually, they went for positive yards. It was
got a first down. You can get mad. It was really stupid to watch, but it was
one of the funniest things I've ever found.
Yeah.
I mentioned one of my favorite games of the week is Michigan versus Washington. I know they got to go way out west, but Michigan's a dog in this game, and like they don't lose very much. And Washington's not that good this year, so
no.
I'm kind of. I know Michigan just kind of won a stinker, but like, come on,
They're
Michigan
all
is a dog. That should actually bring us into the stinky line of the week, because I think this is the stinky line of the week.
So Washington is I don't know the number. I think they're a 2.5 point favorite, 3 point favorite. And historically, from a gambling perspective, when a ranked team goes on the road and to an unranked team and they're a 2.5 or 3 point dog or less, the unranked team wins. We just said this with Texas A&M. This line stinks.
I got Michigan plus 2.5 right before we recorded, by the way. So 2.5 on Hard Rock anyway.
This line stinks to shit. Michigan is a far better team on defense. If Wink Martindale,
so you're saying historically this should be a Wisconsin or a Washington win and cover.
Washington fire and cover, right? Washington win and cover. Texas A&M win and cover. Feels real bad to do it, but it's kind of the rule because it doesn't make any sense. Someone knows something.
The someone knows something only works if it's not Michigan, whose only loss this year is to Texas. I know they just barely beat USC. They just barely beat Minnesota, but like, come on, their only loss this year is Texas. They're good still.
I agree. And it didn't work last week. I want that to be known because BYU went into Baylor and BYU won, and Baylor was a 3-point favorite. So it's not a hard and fast rule. I'm just saying it historically from a gambling perspective.
But Baylor was coming off an emotional loss to Colorado, right?
That's they were, and BYU kicked the shit out of Kansas State.
Yeah.
It's the Baylor-Colorado game really kind of killed my Colorado going defeated outside of that first game thing, because it kind of put them on a trajectory where they can play better. And turns out their defensive line doesn't suck. Which
no, they don't suck as bad.
If you have Travis Hunter on the outside and your defensive line doesn't suck, like, you can actually play defense maybe against teams that can't figure out that you should just run up the middle against their tiny little defensive tackles.
Straightforward.
They can rush the passer, man. It was an impressive week last week for them.
No, they look super good. But yeah, that Michigan Washington game is weird. Let's talk about our best bets. I know we've talked a lot about football, but that's what we're here to do, baby. Al, what's your best bet this week?
I'm gonna go Duke +9.
Shine's falling off that Georgia Tech wagon a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Going in.
It's a toss up between that and laying 6.5 with Toledo against Miami, Ohio. But I'm gonna do Duke with the points.
I like both of those bets, but I like the Duke one more because, I mean, you guys remember when Georgia Tech was an option team and now they're trying to not be an option team? Mm-hmm. You guys remember when Wisconsin was a running team and now they're trying to be a passing team? I just got to say, if you are a college football team with an identity, stick to your goddamn identity. Like, trying to bring in some guru to recruit an entire new team, it never works because you can't just overhaul the whole team in 1 year. Even with the transfer portal, you can't. You just can't do it.
Save the hypotheticals for the video games.
Yeah, exactly. Just like if you have a team that was built to do one thing, just hire a coach that does it. Unless you're going to give a guy like 15 years to turn it around, in which case you're just going to be mid forever.
Yeah, that's Georgia Tech, though. They're okay being mid forever. Like, mid for Georgia Tech is good, right? I think there's levels to this thing.
But they had an option offense that made them slightly better than mid.
They did.
For a couple of years they were really bad, and then for maybe 1 year they were fine, and I think fine is now the best they can be. But they're most likely going to end up being really bad every year, as long as they're not trying to be.
Agreed with everything you said.
Not to bring identity politics into this.
Yeah, let's not do that. Andy has a really interesting bet as his best bet. He couldn't make it tonight, but he likes Troy plus 14.5 hosting Texas State. I think that number is down to 13.5, so it's not nearly as delicious. But I think everyone here there may be a cyclone on Troy for this game, or there's a good portion of us betting Troy. So I would consider betting Troy in this spot. Danny, who are you picking?
Well, I believe I'm one of the people on Troy. I think it's down to 13 now, though. So I'm on that. But this is the easiest best bet that I've had. Florida versus UCF. I don't care where the game's played. You should not be getting points if you're Florida against UCF ever. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't have a good quarterback right now. They just lost to Colorado and they're laying points to Florida, so I'm taking the Florida +3. I know Florida's had a rough go. I know UCF can run the ball, but like, could they against like a pretty below average Colorado defense? They're not going to be able to run on Florida. So I'm definitely taking this +3. I think that's going to be.
Yeah, I like it.
I think Florida wins. But
yeah, I think so too.
Matt, what's your play?
Clemson, lay all of them. Whatever number you can get, lay them. Doesn't fucking matter. Lay all
fade
of
your
them.
Team, huh?
Yeah, dude, I bet it as soon as I saw the line. It was 14. I was like, oh, this is the easiest bet of all time. Right now it's
It's
15. It's
moving.
still, yeah, still worth betting at 15. Lay 'em. And honestly, if I'm wrong,
It
then
could
I'm
get to like
sorry.
16.5 before game time.
I mean,
think
I wouldn't be surprised if it kept going. Like, you could buy this one on the alt and get like minus
lay
19.5 or something, and
And the good thing here is Dabo and Mike don't like each other, so there's not going to be any like consolation. Oh, let's not put our foot on the gas.
take her easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a young quarterback going against Clemson's defense, which is very good. Lay all of them.
There's
Lay them all.
well, I don't know if that's very good because DJ has been pure ass. So if another quarterback comes in, there's a chance he's.
Is it for
like,
sure? DJ's for sure sitting for this?
Yeah, he broke his finger. Okay, he's listed as an or on the depth chart, but he broke his left hand in the most hilarious series that I've ever seen in my life last week. And the 5 throws out of bounds, then SMU muffs a punt, and then he immediately throws a pick that goes for a pick 6. Hilarious series of events there.
good.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. So I don't think Brock Glenn is going to be any better. I think there's a idea that DJ's super bad and anyone could be better, but I don't think that would be the case.
Oh, I don't think anybody could be better than DJ. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of poise. He's just not particularly good. So the chance is that the guy who replaces him just turns out to be good, right? It happened with Miami not that long ago with Tyler Van Dyke until everybody realized that you could just play cover 2 instead of man, and then he can't do it. But this happens in college football all the time. A young guy comes in and shows up. So I'm not going to lay 15. I'm not going to lay 16.5. I'm not going to lay 19.5 on this. I'm going to watch the game though. I'm going to pay attention and
lay all of them. Any number you can find, just lay it. It doesn't matter. Lay 30, lay 70. It should be a bloodbath. And I'm going to watch the game as well, but it's not going to be great. All right, let's go to money line. What do you guys have? Do you guys have any money line picks you like this week?
You want me to go first here because mine are kind of meh. I'm betting against UConn. I know that they've won a couple of games or a triple of games this year, but those aren't good teams that they beat, and it's 5.5 to 1. So I'm taking Temple here on that money line. I've already mentioned that.
A thruple. They're in a thruple.
Yeah, they're in a thruple. But I mean, 5.5 for UConn, like plus 5.5 for UConn to lose against like a real team. It's not like a nut. It's not like a D5 team or something. It's a real team.
Is Temple a real team? Are they?
If they play this game 6 times, how many times do you think UConn wins? Because
I just realized where Eli Holstein's going to transfer.
That'd be natural.
And then my another one would be South Carolina over Ole Miss. Ole Miss just got shut down by Kentucky. South Carolina, who I thought would be mid, turns out to not be particularly mid. They're playing pretty well, so I like that one. At least you're getting times. As long as South Carolina wins, you're getting close to one of those 3. You're getting close to value. And then obviously the last one is Florida plus 1.22 over UCF. I'm getting plus 3 points. I just think Florida's going to win this game. Oh, I do have one more. Sorry, I'm just going to throw these out there all over. Michigan should not be a dog, so I'm plus 120 there. You gotta take that one.
Yeah,
okay. I like those. Al, what you got?
Yeah, so let me read off some of that Andy has. I think we're in agreement on at least one of these. So he's got Troy, Michigan, like Danny mentioned, North Carolina actually, which is that's a pretty bold one, I think. He's on Kansas and Air Force. So those are the plays that Andy likes on the money line.
I can tell you for sure. I can tell you for sure on the Air Force one. Don't bet it. because
I laughed when
Andy
I
is
saw it.
trusting. Yeah, Andy is trusting his numbers, and you can't trust the numbers on Air Force right now because they're just not living up to what they should be. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I think Troy. I think they're like 14-point, or we already covered it, like 13-point dogs right now.
it's over 6-1. It's like 6.5 to 1 or something on that money line.
It's
great.
probably worth a dart throw. I probably wouldn't put it in a round robin.
That's exactly the one you put in a round robin, but you it's like you're only one of that size because if it hits, then they're all paying good.
Yeah. And then in the other ones I like Duke, Missouri, and then Florida, like Danny mentioned. So
like don't put Troy and Temple in the same round robin, but if you're doing round robins, pick one of those maybe, and because if that one hits, then all your round robins will feel good as long as a couple of the teams win.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Stanford. I think it's worthwhile throwing a dart at Stanford plus 275 against Virginia Tech. Look, Virginia Tech is okay. They're not a bad team. They went on the road and they played really tough at Miami.
Emotional loss.
I could see this being a tough one to bounce back from. They got to travel all the way across the other side of the country. I'd look at plus 275 here. And Stanford.
I don't really like Stanford to win anything ever.
I actually like that one, Matt. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good poll.
Like everything kind of lines up here. Virginia Tech lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to a couple teams that they shouldn't have. Lost to Rutgers. What's to say that they go across the country and can't lose to a Stanford team with a really great wide receiver, and Elumaner. I can never say his name. Alec Leminer. That dude is awesome. The guy lit up Colorado for 300 yards last year.
Yeah. Stanford did beat Syracuse already, so I guess they have a team, but I don't think they've thrown for more than 200.
I don't think Virginia Tech's that good. I think they just looked good because we played them.
I think you're all right. I mean, they lost to Rutgers and Vanderbilt, but come on, Virginia Tech is. All right, I can't really argue with that. I got nothing.
Plus 275. Give it a shot. Add it to your round robins. You boys have anything else? I think we really did a good job here. We're up against the clock a little bit. So
we did it.
Go to singlelegparlay.com. Hit the subscribe button if you like money being delivered to you via your inbox. If not, just go and peruse and enjoy some content. We got all our gambling picks up there. We'll make sure to have that updated for you. And follow us on TikTok, Single Leg Parlay. SingleLegParlay.Andy is a really, really good follow. It's something you should not miss out on. And we'll give you our best bets there as well. Until next time, I got Al, I got Danny. Cheers, boys.
Cheers. I do have one more thing to say. Don't bet all 18 of my picks. Only pick the ones that win.
That's the key.
Solid advice.
Don't pick the bad ones. Pick the good ones.
Only the ones that are going to win.
And go with nickels.
Nickels? No. You're on nickels. You're on dimes.
No, dimes is the way to go.
Dimes for sure. All right. Good job, boys.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the newly rebranded Single Leg Parlay podcast. Visit our website at www.singlelegparlay.com, where you can read more of our thoughts, as well as subscribing to our newsletter to have our picks delivered straight to your inbox each week. And don't forget to follow Single Leg Parlay on all of your favorite social media platforms. Cheers!